Hello, I'm Jody Wolf, and you're watching Expose March 9, 2015, almost 1 a.m. in Birmingham. And the topic, tribulation? Soon? Yes, it could be very soon. We don't know the day or the hour of the rapture, but we do know within a very short time of the tribulation. And these 4 blood moons and the solar eclipse proves that. And I'm going to tell you why. To start with, we're going to get judged. I've said it over and over, and other people have too. March 20th, Judgment Day for the nations that went against Israel. We have done that. We have severed ties almost completely with Israel, with Benjamin Netanyahu recently when he came down here and spoke by invitation of our Congress. He brought down the house. People loved him. And the more people that loved him, the worse Obama hated him. Obama is a very evil man. He will play a role in not necessarily the history of us, but perhaps a role of the end times of the world. And I won't go any more because I don't know. I'm just saying it's very possible. So let's talk about why we are so near the tribulation period, which is a 7-year period, and it is designed to bring Israel, God's people, back to God. But in our case, it's designed also to bring the world back to God. The world has grown ugly. The world has grown mean. There's very few people on this world today that are saved by the blood and that will be raptured out when the tribulation period begins. The tribulation period, as said by God, there has never been a time on earth this bad, nor will there ever be a time on earth this bad again. That's very clear. You can't make it more clear than that. That means, like he says, as in the days of Noah, but then he adds that it's worse than in the days of Noah. The days of Noah were so bad that he destroyed every person in it except 8 people. If God does not punish and judge this nation, he will have to apologize to Sodom and Gomorrah. So here is why we are this close to being headed into the tribulation. These feast days that are falling upon us, all in a tetrad, won't happen again for 400 years. We'll be gone way before that. And the Feast of Trumpets won't happen again for 7 more years. We have to enter it now. We have to enter the tribulation. And the reason is because the Bible says that during this time of this tetrad, all the blood moons and the solar eclipse, this is the time that the world will enter its final days. That's why it can't happen 7 years from now, because we won't have another tetrad 7 years. We won't have it in 70 years. We won't have it until 400 years. We have to enter into the tribulation at or near September the 13th of 2015. Then following that date is the last blood moon, which is a supermoon. That is going to be a plus for Israel because there's going to be a war, and it may be over on that date. And if it is that date, Israel will have claimed a lot more land after defeating those that came against them. And then the last war won't come until the end of the tribulation. Now, what happens to you when this tribulation period begins? Well, number one, the Bible says, I've not appointed you, talking about Christians, to that terrible time. I've not appointed you to that hour. I will keep you from that hour. There are so many ways that the Bible says we are kept from that hour. Noah was taken out. He was kept from that hour. Lot was taken out. He was kept from Sodom and Gomorrah. And this happened many times where people were pulled to safety before a judgment fell. He'll do it again because he said he would. He will remove us before this judgment of punishing this earth for 7 years falls upon us. Will be taken out. That is the rapture. We don't know the date or the hour of the rapture, but we do know it is near the tribulation period, and we do know the season that it's in as well as the tribulation period. Tribulation period can almost be pinned down according to Mark Biltz on his study, The 7 Sevens. It can almost be pinned down to the very day it'll begin. But you have to be protected. You have got to make sure that your house is in order. Joshua, Joshua 24:15. 24:15 is for me and my house. He says, choose you today whom you'll serve. It's for me and my house, we choose to serve the Lord. You got to do that. You got to tell your family. You got to protect your family. That's your job. You got to protect them. You got to protect your children, you, your wife, and everybody you know. You got to protect them. This is not a simple warning that it might rain on that day and get slick. This is a warning that if you enter a tribulation period, chances are you won't come out of it, because God says clearly, even the very elect would be deceived if I don't cut those days short. That means if you enter into it, you will probably be deceived and go along with it. Then you won't come out of it. I mean, you will, but you'll go from the tribulation and the hellfire that quick. If you're saved before the tribulation, before the rapture rather begins, you're going to be taken out to safety, and you're going to be kept in heaven while this goes on. If you are not saved and you go into the tribulation, I don't know if you have another chance. You may. But if you do, it's going to be it's going to be 10,000 times harder then to make that decision than it is today. Again, even the very elect would be deceived if those days weren't cut short. That means you. That means anybody that's in here that's not saved. Do it. Bust your kneecaps tonight and go to God. Jody Wolf Exposed.